Have you ever stopped to wonder what's really going on inside your own head? Well, it turns out our brains are constantly running on this whole set of hidden rules and shortcuts. These are super powerful processes that shape how we see, how we remember, and how we act, all without us even noticing. So let's dive in and uncover some of your brain's most surprising secrets.
Okay, take a look at this. It's a total mess, right? But I'm willing to bet you can read it just fine. And this right here? It reveals a fundamental secret about how you read. Your brain isn't slowly going letter by letter by letter. Nope. As long as the first and last letters are in the right spot, your mind just kind of fills in the blanks. It's a predictive machine, not a passive one.
So how is your brain pulling off these little magic tricks every single second of the day? This scrambled paragraph is just one example of the fascinating, invisible rules it follows to make sense of everything. Let's explore a few more.
First up, let's talk about vision. We tend to think of our eyes like these perfect little cameras, capturing a high-def picture of whatever's in front of us. But the reality is so much weirder.
You see, you've actually got two different kinds of vision working at the same time. Your central vision is what you're using right now to read the words on this screen. It's sharp, it's detailed, but it only covers a teeny tiny area. Everything else you see is through your peripheral vision. It's way blurrier, but it's fantastic at getting the overall gist of a scene and, super important for our ancestors, detecting motion. Like a lion creeping up on you.
And this is just wild. It shows you how important that blurry side vision really is. Researchers showed people pictures, right? Like a kitchen, but they blacked out certain parts. When the super detailed central part was missing, people could still tell what the room was. But when they took away the peripheral, gist part, people were completely lost. We actually need the big picture to make sense of the little details.
Okay, but it gets even cooler. Your brain has a built-in VIP access system for one thing and one thing only, recognizing faces.
It's called the fusiform face area, or the FFA for short. This is what lets you spot a friend in a massive crowd, like instantly. It just bypasses all the normal visual processing. And get this, the FFA is located right next to the amygdala, which is the emotional hub of your brain. That's why a single look from someone can hit you with such a strong, immediate emotional punch, whether it's joy or fear or anger.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about memory. Because just like with vision, what we think is happening, that our memory is like a little video camera, perfectly recording everything, is just completely wrong. Our memories are so much more creative and honestly, way more fragile than we think.
So, what's the magic number for your memory? It's 4. According to researchers, that's about the maximum number of separate things an average person can hold in their working memory at one time. 4. That's it. Not a lot, is it? So how in the world do we remember something like a 10-digit phone number? Well, we cheat. We use this little mental hack called chunking. You don't see 10 separate numbers, you see 3 chunks: the area code, the prefix, and the last 4 digits. Your brain cleverly groups information together to work around that natural 4-item limit. And here it is, maybe the biggest myth of all. Your memories are not like video clips that you pull out of a folder and replay. Every time you remember something, your brain actually rebuilds that memory from scratch. And what that means is your memory of an event can actually change over time, getting tweaked by new information or new experiences.
There's this incredible study by a researcher named Elizabeth Loftus that showed this perfectly. She showed people a video of a car accident. If she asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other, people gave a pretty low speed estimate. But if she used the word smashed, people estimated a much higher speed. But here's the crazy part. When asked later, the people who heard the word smashed were more than twice as likely to falsely remember seeing broken glass on the ground. A single word literally rewrote their memory.
Okay, so we've covered how our brain sees and remembers, but what about what makes us do things? Let's take a look at the invisible forces of motivation that are always buzzing under the surface.
First off, we've got to clear up a huge misunderstanding about dopamine. Everyone calls it the pleasure chemical, but that's not really right. It's the wanting chemical. Dopamine isn't what makes you feel good when you get a reward. It's the thing that made you get off the couch and go seek out that reward in the first place. It is the engine of desire and curiosity.
And this wanting, this seeking, it gets supercharged by something called the goal gradient effect. This basically says that the closer we get to a goal, the more motivated we become.
that final push to the finish line is a ridiculously powerful psychological force.
And here's a perfect example. A coffee shop gave out 2 different loyalty cards. One needed 10 stamps for a free coffee, the other needed 12, but it came with 2 bonus stamps already filled in. Now think about it. Both cards need 10 more purchases. But which group do you think was more motivated? The one that felt like they had a head start? Just the illusion of progress made them way more likely to finish the card.
This all leads to another fundamental truth about us. We are, you might say, inherently lazy. But hold on, that's not a character flaw. From an evolutionary standpoint, it's a survival strategy. Conserving energy was everything, so our brains are wired to find the most efficient path to any goal, doing the absolute least amount of work necessary.
And finally, none of these hidden rules work in a bubble. At our core, our brains are social organs. They are constantly being shaped and influenced by every single person around us.
I mean, from the absolute moment we're born, we are built to connect with others. A newborn baby will literally stick its tongue out if you stick your tongue out at it first. This impulse to imitate, to feel what others are feeling, is just baked into our neurology. It's the foundation for empathy, for learning, for everything.
And this social wiring has a huge influence on our actions, often without us having a clue. In this classic experiment, people were put in a room to fill out a survey. A few minutes in, smoke starts pouring in through a vent. If a person was alone, almost everyone got up and reported it right away. But, and this is the wild part, if they were in a room with other people who were secretly told to just ignore the smoke, almost nobody reported it. They literally looked at everyone else, saw no one panicking, and decided it must not be an emergency. They outsourced their own sense of reality.
So, from the way you see a room, to how you remember your childhood, to what gets you motivated, your brain is just a master of shortcuts. It relies on these hidden rules, these patterns, and tons of social cues to navigate the incredible complexity of the world without getting overwhelmed.
And that leaves us with one last, pretty empowering question. Now that you know some of these hidden rules, the importance of the bigger picture, the power of a head start, the fact that memory isn't perfect, how can you consciously start to use them? How can you use them to learn better, to stay motivated, and to better understand yourself and the people around you?